Welcome to Movie House Cinemas. Popcorn? Yes, please. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the movie. Reclining chairs? Don't mind if I do. Action, thriller, romance, we got it all. Discover the cinema today. Movie House Cinemas, home of the movies.
Good evening, and welcome along to part 2 of our Christmas special. We're back here at the Titanic Hotel here in Belfast, and once again we got another great lineup of guests for you, including Downton Abbey star Lesley Nicol, the lady who plays Mrs. Padmore. She'll be chatting to us a little bit later on. Also, broadcasting legend George Jones will be with us. Stuart Bailie is here as well, and we get lots of great live music from people like Brian Houston, Conal Montgomery, and Taylor Lally. But as always, we start off with some festive news on part 2 of our Christmas special. To help us do that, we're joined by Kelly, Paul Martin and Marcus Keeley. Guys, welcome back. Kelly, let's start off with you. What have you got for us?
Well, would you pay to come to my house and have Christmas dinner?
Would I pay? No.
No.
I would come to your house.
Would you have to pay him?
But
I'm a great cook. Anyway, I've been reading about people. It seems to be an English thing. You know what English people are like, you know?
Yes.
No offence. They seem to be charging, I'm sure none taken, they seem to be charging people to go to each other's houses. So there's this granny in England who's charging £15 a head for her children, £2.50 for grandchildren,
Genius.
Which is kind of okay because that's covering the costs.
Yeah.
But then there's other people. There was one on Mumsnet, love Mumsnet, £50 they were charging per person. So say it was you and like a 2-year-old child, 150 quid. What do you think? Would you pay, Marcus, to come to my house? £2.50?
Well, I mean, is there any entertainment on? Is it just the food that we're paying for? Like,
is our drink included?
Well, the one on Mumsnet who was charging £50, no, they wanted her to bring a case of champagne.
Right,
People are outrageous, aren't they?
What is wrong with people these days? Everybody's trying to make a bit of... What was her justification? Why do people... What's the...
Because it's
moral
expensive.
Thing here, isn't there? Like,
no, well, it's expensive. I mean,
I suppose, is labour included in that? Because it can be a nightmare to make a full Christmas dinner.
How much would you charge labour? Minimum wage?
Well, it depends how long it's going to take.
It's a bank holiday, so maybe
time and a half.
Time
and a half, easily,
Time and a half, £15 an hour.
Yeah.
And it's about maybe 5-6 hours of labour.
Exactly. Like the first and only full Christmas dinner I made was during lockdown, because obviously we aren't going to our ma's house or whatever. Yeah. So it was just for myself and my wife. And by the time we'd finished making it, we were too tired to eat it. It was just exhausting.
You do get that, don't you? Sometimes I help to cook a little bit before you jump in on this, Kim, and I know you will. You do get that when you actually cook the Christmas dinner. You notice the cook never wants to eat any of it.
Oh, he can't be bothered.
You're in a frenzy by the
You're that far through by the time you've cooked it. And you're usually drunk as well.
Usually drunk, you've fallen out with a member of the family, somebody stormed out. That's just my family Christmas dinner, but everybody else's. Are you going to cook this year?
I think I'll maybe see what prices are going in my local neighbourhood and pop around someone's house.
You can come to my house for my house. I'll £15 a head or £2.50 for children.
I'll take that. I mean,
okay.
And Jenny as well too.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Okay, right. That's your Christmas day sorted. Paul Martin, what have you got for us?
I actually have normally I bring stories of nuts to this show, and despicable acts such as the famous Santa who turned up with a load of coke in his pockets and drunk.
But
this is actually a very uplifting story. It's happened in Birmingham. A homeless man overnight. He had a little sign, one of these signs that you see. He's been on the streets of Birmingham. He's very well known as one of the well-known homeless people, I guess, in that area. Very liked guy. And he has a little sign out saying, "Don't forget about homeless people at Christmas." And he fell asleep. And in the morning he woke up and he has a little jar. And there was £1,500 in cash put in it, in a little jar.
Wow.
He's woken up. It's believed to be the most generous gift of its kind on the record ever given in the UK. That just shows, and whoever did it, first of all, who carries that kind of cash around?
Exactly, yeah.
And secondly, what a legend that person is. The guy was quoted, he said, I couldn't believe it when I woke up. I thought it was fake. He went to the local bank. They wouldn't even check it out because he didn't have an account. So he went to the post office. He said, somebody very kindly at the post office had a look at it and said, no, it's not fake money. He thought it was a prank.
Yeah.
And there we go. He's in the money. Brilliant. That makes me very happy.
That's a lovely
story.
story.
Lovely story. Let's squeeze in one more. Marcus, what have you got for us?
Well, if you're sending Christmas cards, there's a post box in Donegal Square West that is singing Christmas tunes to help lift the spirits. So I'll sing Merry Christmas and various others. There's 4 of them around the UK.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, can we extend that to maybe Valentine's Day? Maybe have a post box sing a wee bit of Tom Jones to, just tie it all into different seasons.
That's a genius idea,
nice.
yeah.
Just, encourage more posts.
When was the last time you posted a letter?
Well, I posted back some letters that I keep receiving of people who don't live here.
Not known at this address.
So yeah, you write that, not known at this address, and you feel dead important and official doing that.
Yeah.
But it'll probably just make its way back around again.
Well, there we go. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Have yourselves a very Merry Christmas.
And you too, Robin.
You too.
Right, time for some live music here at the Titanic Hotel in Belfast. And we've got Brian Houston standing by. Here he is.
Well, my mama tried so hard to wake him up. It must have been about 12:30 or 1. Nothing that she did could steer him from that drunken sleep. There was a time he lost the car, and it was Christmas Eve. I felt this mix of pity and anger in the air. There was a sweet and sickly smell as he lay there, and the watches that he bought us were half hidden up his sleeve. There was a time he lost the car, and it was Christmas Eve. So we made it through the night to where it was. It was parked but not locked at the side of the road. We took out the bargain presents we weren't really supposed to see, and we took them home to wrap, 'cause it was Christmas Eve. Well, I don't quite remember Christmas Day. I don't know what we did or what games we played. I think I grew up more the night before when we were making memories of the time when he lost the car. Of the time when he lost the car. Of the time when he lost the car, and it was Christmas Eve.
Some great music there from local singer-songwriter Brian Houston. We got some more live music from Taylor Lally a little bit later on, and we're chatting to the broadcasting legend George Jones and journalist Stuart Bailie right after these.
Heading to the North Coast? The Jet Centre in Caillin offers entertainment for everyone. There's an 8-screen movie house cinema with all the best movies, 10-pin bowling, a massive arcade, soft play for the wee ones. Outdoors, there's a mini fun park and gem mining, plus an 18-hole floodlit mini golf course. Rain or shine, there's something for everyone here at the Jet Centre. Find out more at thejetcentre.co.uk.
Right, usually on the Christmas special we have Terry Hooley on the show. Sadly, Terry couldn't be with us, but we got the next best thing. We got a book all about Terry. Stuart Bailie has written it. He joins us now, along with the broadcasting legend George Jones as well. Guys, welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see both of you. I'm going to start with Stuart because this book, I've just had a flick through it, and the photographs in it are just absolutely fabulous.
It's my tribute to a pal and someone, as a young person, I looked up to him. And the doctors told him he would never make 30. And here he is approaching his 75th birthday. And I think he's as surprised as anyone else is to be reaching such an accolade. And I just thought it was a nice time to take stock. And obviously there's been a film, there's been a stage musical. And I kind of felt he's getting a little bit of a caricature, and I thought I'm going to write my version of Terry, which is someone that's done a lot more and who's got a lot more personality and facets to him than maybe people think.
You had to dig deep into the archives in his attic and stuff like this, and there's stuff in here that people have never heard of and never seen before, isn't there?
Well, there's a lot of pictures that have never been seen before. Close to the end of the book, and I was getting a wee bit nervous, he went, "We'd better go up to the attic." Yeah. And we went into the attic, and it's not organized. There's just boxes and boxes and boxes. But you open a box and it's like the entire back catalogue of Good Vibrations, pristine, these beautiful records that he put out, and pictures of his family and his father, who was in the Atlantic convoys during Second World War, and pictures of himself as a tearaway. He was involved in civic disruption. He was protesting against war in Vietnam when he was 15, 16. He found letters from Bill Clinton commending him on what he's done. And so it's a great life. And then we spent a lot of time in the book talking about what it's like to live in the here and now, to be 75 and to be the subject of all these strange tributes.
Exactly. Do you remember your first ever meeting with Terry?
I was in a band and I expected Terry would put us on the label and make us superstars, and that never happened. And that wasn't his fault, that was my fault, because I was talentless, really. But my friend, I didn't meet him, but my friend went in and he talked to Terry, who was lying on the counter of the record shop. And after 10 minutes, he realised that Terry was sleeping and he was talking to his prosthetic eye. And then the other eye opened and Terry went, "What are you doing here?" And,
just keep my eye out for you.
Yeah. And he made his way out. He lit up a cigarette and went downstairs and left my poor drumming friend speechless. But I met him later and we became really good friends. And we DJ together. We've travelled to various locations, including Brussels and Dublin and Liverpool. And we've had some laughs.
And you know what it's like to hold your very own book as well, because it's been a great year for you, and your book's done fabulous business, hasn't it?
Well, it took many years to coax me to do it, I'll tell you that. I mean, I can get up there and tell a few yarns and play a bit of bass and music and do a bit of painting, but don't ask me to write. I don't know how you do it, Stuart. You see, whatever happens between the brain and the hand, it doesn't compute. The brain works, I can speak it into a tape recorder a lot quicker, but to relate the two together, and I think that's where people like yourselves come into the fore, and ghostwriters and whatever. And I think it takes a lot to lay down your life in a book, because, you may be well known, which is wonderful in your country. It's brilliant to be well known in your own country, but you often say to yourself, because I've been lucky enough to have a couple of documentaries made about my life for UTV and BBC, and you see the couple of days before they go out, you're sitting going, people will think this is totally crap, boring, and you're sitting sweating, in case it is boring, because you totally always undermine yourself because you're one of the guys in the street, as I have always been and never wanted to be anything else. But in a book, it's the same thing. You're saying, will anybody buy this? And then you walk in your bookshop and there's your book there, and maybe Sean Connery's book's beside it, something like that. You're going, oh my God, no.
Over 50 years with the club sound, was that a gift?
Last Friday night.
And this is the last one now?
Yes,
there's no more?
Absolutely. I've told you how it's going to work. I told you that the Ballymere Grouse Beater's been locked up. Shankill Airways has been grounded. Ranjit Singh in Belfast has sold its last pair of lucky knickers of all time, and Andy McFadden and his funky wee 5-piece banner in A Home for the Tormented, right? other characters, we've buried them. Sammy and Alec, who we featured quite a lot, the two we inebriated once. Coming up to Christmas, Sammy said to Alec, he said, Alec, he said, I see Christmas is on a Friday this year. And Alec said, flip, hope it's not the 13th. And it's characters like that that you think about, they're all gone. We have a few commitments to do for David Hull, who's been with us all our life. We're doing our musical for the last time, the Rock and Roll Years, and that finishes in March. And we're doing 3 final dates for David as Club Sound with Roy Walker, Jimmy Cricket, Adrian Walsh, and we're bringing Jean Fitzpatrick hopefully back on the stage, as Jean, as you know, has gone through a hard time. But once that's gone, we're all going our separate ways. I mean, we haven't really played together since last March. They brought us together for that night at the Ramble. That was a favour to the McLaren family. And it was bung, and it was so lovely to see people shouting up, you know, play this, play. We had 6 albums, and you couldn't play them all at one night. See, the next day, Saturday, I was wrecked. Oh, brilliant. You know, because we put so much into it, you know, and you forget that you are a bit older now and you can't do that anymore. But look, if Club Sound played a part in the Troubles and brought some happiness, that's fine. I
interviewed George for my Trouble Songs book, so Music and Conflict.
Yeah, and the
so they were part of that story. So
music and comedy got us through it. Ron, you would agree with that, Stuart, I'm sure.
Music and comedy and speaking the truth when it had to be spoken. You know, that was part of it as well. And it's been a strange year, saying goodbye to Sinead O'Connor and Shane McGowan and various other
Christy
people.
Dignam as well.
So
legends and pioneers and what they believed and what they did.
Bless them all. Hopefully, we've got positive stuff to look forward to in 2024. You know, so
what a band in heaven.
Yeah,
exactly.
I want to be part of that.
But bless music for those voices and those people and. You know, to be able to dance in a church, you know, at a funeral, that's something
it's incredible.
Amazing.
I watched that. And, you know, I was looking, somebody put something up on Facebook today, and I watched and witnessed one of the finest versions of a James Taylor song I'd ever heard in my life. And it was Carolina on My Mind, a tribute to James Taylor that night. And the guy called Harris, great slide player, flat top, he was playing with Alison Krauss. Oh, wow. And you couldn't put it down. Yeah. You know, where music was really real music sitting in front of you, where you have to stop for a minute, would have brought tears to your eyes. Yeah. The way they triggered that, James Taylor stood up at the table, he was crying. Oh, wow. And just a simple song like that. And you say to yourself, you've probably said this yourself, Stuart, will that ever come around? Exactly. Will there ever be greats? Will there ever be music like that again in this world of digital and fine studio tuning and hardly instruments being played, you know? This girl stood up, she sang with a violin, in the middle of it she took a solo.
Rock and Roll Years and Dancehall Days is back one last time on tour in the new year. So they've got one last time to catch the show, and the comedy show you're doing as well with all those legends, that's going to be a very special
That is, because I don't think that'll ever happen again. And that's a day, it's nearly sold, the Opera House is nearly sold out. But those guys, they were pioneers in comedy as well. And to get Gene out of his illness, that stroke, because I thought he'd never walk again, but he's agreed to do 20 minutes, and it will be like giving him an adrenaline hit. I know it will, just because you never lose it. And dear Barry Brent, who's one of the great pioneers during the Troubles, sadly Barry can't walk anymore, you know. But life's life. Look, I'm thankful for every day. I'm 80 next year. Wow. And I'm thankful for every day I'm above the sod instead of looking up the roots.
Do you feel 80?
No. Because I'm a firm believer when you're a musician and you've sort of peddled your wares in music the whole right round the world and backwards, I feel we have the greatest drug that's already in our body, and that's adrenaline. I've mentioned it earlier. And if you can feed that and keep it going, okay, it diminishes obviously as you get older, but if you can keep it in there and just face the day and coming and look ahead what you have coming up, you'll keep moving.
You're coming 80. Terry's coming 75. The book is out now, Stuart. Where can people get this from?
You can get it from No Alibis, Waterstones, Sound Advice, Bridge Books in Dromore. It'll be heading up to Derry soon, and then I think there'll be a Hooley and Bailie tour in 2024. We'll be turning up in odd parts of the world. So,
and is he going to perform on the tour like he did at the book launch?
I think he will. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I think you put a microphone in front of him, and he's still an unstoppable force.
I love the way you had all those outlets all rehearsed. They were brilliant. It was like a script. It just came out.
I'm the bloke that's carrying them into the shop, so I know where they all are.
Brilliant. Well, Stuart and George, good to see you guys.
Merry
Thank
Christmas.
you, Robin.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Next guest joining us on the Christmas special is the man responsible for what I am wearing today. This fabulous suit by Richard William Custom Made Suits. I'm pleased to say that Ricky Aitcheson joins us now in the studio. How are you?
I'm very well, Robin. Thank you very much for having me here today.
And thank you for this, because everybody's been talking about it, and it's not one of your off the high street jackets. I mean, you made this yourself, didn't you?
Definitely. It's a jacquard print merino wool with a silk blend, and the jacquard print is really prominent, really popping, as you can tell. Hopefully it's been turning a few heads for you.
It has, no, definitely has, and you're turned out well as well. And I mean, that's another one of yours, isn't it?
Yes,
that you're
that's
wearing there.
one with the fancy linings on the inside. This is a 12-ounce worsted houndstooth, mini houndstooth. More of a vintage cut, this one here, with the wider lapel and the patch pockets. But I think it works. But it's more casual than what you're wearing. You're looking so sharp, you know.
Thank you, thank you. And a lot of people watching this will probably have maybe booked you for a wedding at some stage, but from your music career, and they probably didn't know that away from that, you were involved in making all these fabulous suits as well.
Yes, well, that's how I sort of led myself in through the music scene, and I say that's how we met all those years ago on the circuit and the weddings, and I always thought there was something missing from groomswear. Everybody was wearing the same things from hire companies, etc. And I thought there's a market there, and I've been very fortunate to be involved in family, friends, and textile industry throughout many years. So started into it about 12 years ago now, Rob. So a lot of learning curve, and it was made a lot of mistakes along the way, but finally fine-tuned everything that I needed to fine-tune, and all my patterns are now locked down, and it's been taken off this last 2-3 years for me, so I'm very appreciative of that, you know. So
you think men have become in recent years more obsessed about how they look? And
most definitely. It's the age of Instagram that we live in. It's the social media world. Everybody is trying to, you know, almost outdo the next person down the line. And weddings, for myself, you get the guys that are, what I've found in my line of work now, you'll get the guys that want the 3-piece navy stable suit, you'll get the charcoal, you'll get the tuxedo guys, but then you get the lads that want the 3-piece, all contrast and something totally different, unique velvets, colours. I was
going to say, because you know I love my velvet, so are velvets still in? Are these still popular these days?
Absolutely. Everyone has made a massive resurgence in there. And as I always say to all my clients, suits haven't really changed in about 150 years. We shouldn't really be messing about with them too much. It's just that you move through your different materials, and velvet this year has been very popular. I don't know so much next year. I think we're moving into earthy colours, pastel colours, things like that, and the contrast in 3 pieces, as I say, which is more contemporary look rather than your traditional wedding suit, you know.
Well, if people want to come and visit you, you're up in Brashane, and you're in a fabulous little shopping complex up there, aren't you?
Yes, it's a bit of a hidden gem in there in the Raceview Mill complex. There's a wedding venue, the Wool Tower, there's loads of independent businesses there. So our aim is to become a gentleman's boutique. So we have off-the-rack wear, we do black tux hire, and then we obviously have your made-to-measure range, and then you have your full bespoke, where it's you come in with the concept idea and your imagination. We'll sketch it out, we'll cut your pattern from your cloth, and it ends up looking like that, very dapper, very sartorial indeed, you know.
Well, I have to say, everybody's been talking about it.
Glad to hear
it. Feels absolutely amazing, and yeah, I mean, I don't think I can go back to buying a high street suit.
No, you'll never look
again
back.
After this.
That's it. It becomes very addictive, Rob.
But it was the detail you put into it, right down to the shirt. I mean, this is not just your ordinary shirt either. The waistcoat, everything, the shoes. I mean, it's all it's all part of it. People can check you out online, of course, as well.
Yes, I'm on Instagram, Facebook. I have a website that's being finished off at the moment because we had to do a massive overhaul on it, but it'll be ready in the new year. It's www.rwcm.co.uk. People can find me now on Instagram and Facebook.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for the suit, and have yourself a very Merry Christmas.
Same to you, Rob, and thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Right, time for some more live local music, and a young lady who's had a great 2023. She's been featured on our show many times over the past year. I think she's great, and here she is performing live. It's Taylor Lally.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know, where the treetops glisten and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, with every Christmas card I write. May your days be merry and bright, and may all your Christmases be white, and oh, may all your Christmases be white.
Still to come, Downton Abbey star Lesley, Nicol, and Kim Kelly is learning how to take the perfect selfie with Cathy Martin right after these.
Here we are on the north coast, where sporting legends are made. He needs this putt to advance to the next stage, but can he do it? The crowd are holding their breath. Can he cope with the pressure?
Dad, would you take the shot?
Yes! Yeah!
Well,
I'm here with the very gorgeous Cathy Martin. Now, most people know who Cathy is. She's probably the most stylish woman in Belfast. She herself has worked as a model. She's a model agent and a model manager. Cathy knows how to pose. She knows how to look good. So, Cathy, what are your tips this Christmas for getting your picture taken? Because I don't want any woman to feel bad.
And I'm glad you used the word feel, because it's not just about looking good or looking bad, it's actually about how you feel inside, and that will translate into the expression on your face, but it will also translate into your body language and then onto the, well, I was going to say celluloid, but onto the photograph on the
A little bit old now.
So basically it's all about feeling good, and there are a couple of, let's get technical first, there are a couple of key tips that we need to think about first, and maybe this isn't about feeling good, but this is about getting your best shot.
Yes.
So first things first, clean the lens on your camera. There are so many people with dirty phone camera lenses, so a lot of phones now just use a sleeve, just use a tissue, use whatever. Clean the lens on your camera. Second thing I would say is the most important thing is to find the light. So your best picture is going to be natural daylight. I know we're in the depths of winter right now.
Very dark.
You're not going to have the best light, and actually sometimes when the sun is setting or when the sun is rising at those times of day, it's going to be straight in your face. It's going to be really low in the sky, and that's not necessarily flattering either. But what I will say is that light coming into your face is so much more flattering than light from above. So a lot of places
coming
are lit
this way.
Well, a lot of places are lit from above, which automatically, if you have an eyebrow socket, it automatically gives you dark circles under your eyes. It will give you shadows under here, and once you get to a certain age, you know, you may have these nasolabial lines here, and they will be more pronounced with light from above. And also, if you've any kind of joiling going on, that comes up, that shows off worse with light. So think about your lights. It's just like adding a flash. The flash will take away some wrinkles if you have wrinkles. And sorry, I speak for myself, I do have plenty of them. So it's finding your light. The next thing I would say is you need to be relaxed. So a tip that I used to give to the models before they went on the catwalk at Fashion Week, if they weren't experienced, but if they were, we did this anyway. So what we taught them to do, and do it with me, Kim, if you don't mind. So we taught them to raise their shoulders up, swing those right back round, and then let your shoulder blades fall back a little bit. So it feels slightly unnatural, but that's what we would have had to do with models. I mean, the second half of that for models walking would have been to push their hip bone forward, so their whole pelvis is forward, and they're almost walking in that kind of a
exaggerated,
a very exaggerated way where their hip bone and their pelvis is actually leading first. Seems really strange, but when a model is walking like that in a professional catwalk, it actually looks like the right thing to do.
Right.
So let's get down to posing. But with that kind of reshaping of your shoulders, you will actually relax your lungs. So I know we joked before we went on air about whether we had to hold our tummies in or not.
We all have them, ladies. We all have the tummies we don't like and the arms that we don't like. And you know what it's like, Cathy. You're standing there with your small child and you want a picture at the Christmas tree, but you feel awkward.
I know, but we'll come to using our children as props to hide us. So, but let's talk about our body part. So the breathability thing is key. So if you've got your lungs in a good position, you will be able to take a breath in, and we have to remember to breathe in pictures. And then we also have to remember, you know, if you do have arms that you're conscious of, or a big chest or a tummy or whatever, do you know what, you're actually not going to change that in a picture. So what you have to do is find your good angle. So you might think it's a bit Sarah Jessica Parker and a bit self-gazing to kind of use an expression like know your angles. But the thing is,
it's true.
And I will say this when it comes to styling and fashion, you should know your angles. There are certain tips and tricks that you can use in terms of fashion to highlight or to hide bits and pieces of your body that you're not entirely comfortable with. I don't like the words, I think it's a terrible narrative that we use with ourselves to use the words like I'm fat or I'm frumpy or I'm this. You know, I think let's all resolve for 2024 and beyond not to talk about ourselves in those negative ways. But, you know, we do need to acknowledge that people have bits of their bodies that they might want to hide. But if you're going to think in those terms, think about what you want to highlight as well.
Yes.
And one thing I will say as well is that a smile never goes down badly in a photograph. So
you
do smile, okay? I would say if you're conscious of tummy or if you've got boobs. So if it's all going on in the front, if it's all going on in the front, I would opt for a standing position rather than sitting.
Okay.
If it is a picture with kids, or if it is a picture with your mum or grandmum or you know, grandparent who needs to sit down or who'd like to sit down, use them as a prop.
I find them.
And then the prop in front, and you know a great thing to do? It's called the lean. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to elongate your neck so that you're going to eliminate some of that jowling. You're going to eliminate the potential for a double chin. the potential for a double chin happening, so you're leaning forward. And then lean forward, and I would always tilt my face slightly to one side or t'other, because we all, or most of us, have a half-decent cheekbone, right?
Yes.
So we can use highlighter, for example, in most people's makeup bags, they will have a little bit of highlighter. So if you've got the light, if you've got the lean, and if you're giving yourself an angle, you will automatically see more bone than you will see bulk.
Yes.
So you're leaning forward, then hopefully the highlight will pick up the light, and boom, you're halfway to a great picture, okay? Getting the rest of the way to the good picture is also thinking about angles. So you think of your limbs as the opportunity to give you angles. Now, some people say put your hand on your hip, but if you put your hand, there are certain ways to put your hand on your hip. But you can actually put your hand on your hip, but in a softer way. And let this hand, the other hand, rest down here, okay? And what you can do with that hand then is you can hide a bit of the width of your hip, if you're conscious of that too, with this hand, okay? So that's one. So if you put your hand in your pocket, make sure there's at least one thumb coming out.
Right.
There's so many times picture editors have said to me, I can't use that picture, that model has no hand. So the hand completely disappears and it can look really weird. So if you're putting your hand in your pocket, at least keep
Bring a thumb out.
And the wrist is, on most people, the slimmest part of your body. So actually pull your sleeve up or wear your sleeves to glove length, as they say, and get a little bit of wrist on show.
Cathy, I have learnt so much today. This is wonderful. And for all you girls out there, practice your pictures this Christmas. And I can't wait to see you all on Instagram.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, next up, we are keeping it country. We've got the organiser of the Northern Ireland Country Music Awards and two of the young stars of the world of country music, Caillin Joe and Cara McGillion, and Malcolm McDowell join us in the studio now. Guys, welcome. Malcolm, big time of year for you. You're organising away like crazy, aren't you?
Robin, this time of year is very stressful for anybody.
Yeah.
This time of year, for me, is a breakdown situation. No, it's all good. It's keeping my mind very, very much focused.
Yeah.
Everything's going to plan. It's always a good night.
Yeah.
There is a lot of work and organisational skills put into it,
Yeah.
which people mightn't understand, but trying to get, say for example, 35 people all together on the one particular night.
Well, that's the thing, because when you arrive at these Country Music Awards, it is the who's who of country music. Everybody's there.
Well, the thing about it is, I think the artists know that they're all going to get together for one night where they get up on the stage, they'll sing their song. The rest of the artists will be there. They'll hear them at their best, which they might have never actually heard them live before because everybody's busy out doing their own shows. So there's a real good feel factor that night, I think, anyway. But the main objective, first of all, is to recognise the industry, the industry we have in Northern Ireland. Number two is a platform for up-and-coming artists, to showcase them, to show the venues, show country music fans, radio presenters, all media, what we have, but also to honour our stars that have been around for decades.
And of course, sitting here with us today, we got two of the young stars, up-and-coming stars of the future. So what do you think of these guys then?
Both great stars, both great singers. We had this lovely lady at our awards earlier this year, and we had Caillin Joe this year as well. The crowd went crazy.
Yeah. Caillin Joe, it's been your year. I mean, things have just taken off for you. I mean, I met you at the Country Music Awards at the start of the year. It was a fabulous night, wasn't it?
It was now, but I have to say I've had a good few lucky breaks in my time in the country music scene now.
So what's been the big highlight of the year then for you?
I have to say it's probably the country show.
Yeah.
So I was just being down there and meeting all the big stars like Margot, Daniel, Nathan Cara, Derek Ryan. It was amazing now, so it was, have to say. And of course, I'm looking forward to his show in January now, so...
Exactly.
He's very diplomatic, Robin,
he is. I'm
He
going to put him on the spot because we did a whole lot of name dropping a couple of weeks back when you were on the show as well. But I've had to ask you, who's your favourite out of all the country music stars? Who would it be?
Putting me on the spot again.
Who would it be? Who would it be?
I'd be very careful about that. That's the truth.
Yeah,
you've two sitting here, Caillin.
I know, you can't be.
Always stick to the older one, I think.
I'd have to say, in the Irish country music scene, probably the likes of Nathan and Derek.
Yeah.
But around America, probably Luke Combs and Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
I like their energy and also I try to bring that to my act as well. As you probably know me, I'm the idiot of it all, so I'm like...
You're sitting beside a good example then.
I'm bluffing my way through it all, like, but...
Malcolm, could you see this young man with his own band one day touring the likes of Nathan and Derek doing what they're doing?
I could see him doing as well, if not better, simply because he is totally 100% Irish, number one. Number two, he is a country man, like myself, and it wouldn't matter if he was a multi-millionaire and world famous, I would know he'll not change.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like that band, the folk band from Fermanagh, who was at the awards.
The Tumblin' Paddies.
Tumblin' Paddies. I always say that about those guys. Those guys could be the most famous in the world and have the most money, and it wouldn't change them.
Exactly.
And that's what people like, country music fans like. They like artists that they can relate to.
Yeah.
People that are, you know, a bit rough and ready.
Yes.
It's like, it goes back to even Philomena Bailie.
You call it
Philly
rough and ready.
I'm not saying Philomena. But country music is raw. Philomena interacts. And the people appreciate that. And you interact very well with the audience.
Let's talk about the ladies of country. We've got one of the new stars sitting beside you there, the lovely Cara McGillion. What's your thoughts on Cara?
Lovely girl. She's done so much. I met her 2 or 3 years ago, and I know she's doing her online radio station, and she's out performing. Really good vocalist, and it's just a lot of work for everybody out there to try and get gigs. And but I think you're doing a lot better than most out there at the moment.
I'm trying anyway.
And again, Cara, it's been a fabulous year for you. I mean, you've been winning awards and all kinds of things, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's been an absolute whirlwind of a year. Like, I got the opportunity to grace the stage with a massive band in front of loads of people with yourself, Malcolm, was it February? And it just, ever since then, everything's just sort of took off. And then obviously I'm working a lot with Celtic at the minute.
Yeah.
I'm incredibly grateful for the family I have around me in Celtic. And then obviously the Celtic Awards then come up, and yeah, I managed to pick myself up an award. I didn't have a clue it was even coming. It was one of the, because I was interviewing Sandy Kelly at the time for the TV, and I remember being pulled. My daddy like pulled me backstage. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And it obviously then come out and presented me with the award, and it's probably been the highlight of the year so far. I was picking that up because it was a rough old week for me that week because Mummy was in hospital. And it was sort of one of those I had to do it on my own.
Yeah.
The first sort of like jump into the deep end and do it on my own. So it was a nice topping for a pretty rough summer.
And that's one of the big things as well. Both you and Caillin Joe, your families, your parents are extremely supportive in your work, aren't they?
Yeah, I have to say now, I don't know where I'd be without them. Like, they have pushed me to my limits, and they've made me what I am, the best that I can be.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll be there through the entire journey. So,
Caillin Joe, what's your plans for Christmas?
That's a good question. Well, I've got gigs coming up now, so I have to say I don't think I'll get a Christmas sitting down now, so I won't.
But have you the presents sorted out for your parents?
Well, shopping still has to be done.
Shopping still has to be done. Well, it has to be done.
No, but they can't say that I can't get them anything because I get them something every year, so I do.
Fabulous. Cara, what's your plans for Christmas?
Well, I'm flat out gigging. I don't think I have a night off. I managed to scrape New Year's Eve off by begging Daddy not to book me anywhere, so I'm away to Dublin on New Year's Eve, but just a quiet one with the family this year. We've families had their own struggles throughout the year, so it's just a matter of staying in and just keeping our heads down this year. We're not up to much.
Brilliant. Malcolm, the awards are taking place when?
The awards are taking place Monday the 29th of January in the Armagh City Hotel.
We look forward to that. Can people still get tickets?
People can still get tickets. They are limited now, but you can get the tickets only online at Eventbrite.
We look forward to that.
And there's also a DVD for sale of the awards earlier in the year, 2023.
And of course, during the award show, I'll be there as well, and we'll be broadcasting all the stuff on NVTV and Sky. Guys, good to see you. Have yourselves a great Christmas. Thank you.
Happy Christmas to you too, Robin, and thanks for having us.
Time for some more fabulous live music, and it's always great to have Conal Montgomery live on the show. Here he is.
Thursday night I'm looking out for you. Six o'clock and work friends shuffling. Just another night for me and you. November in the city, one more tune. I see you walking by the window. Heart beats faster, the song is over. Crowd applaud, I cheer inside for you. Danny's talking at the bar to Stu. one for you. Bomb and drops of glass, the plates explode. Rainy nights in Belfast, one more tune. Glistening streetlights, carts sail by. I catch your eye as you walk by. Hello. Hello. Rainy nights in Belfast. 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 One more tune.
Right, time now to get another guest on. If you were watching the show a couple of weeks back, you'll know we were chatting to Peter Egan about the work that he's doing with Animals Asia into protecting moon bears out there. Somebody else who's involved in this campaign is Downton Abbey star Lesley Nicol. Of course, you know her for playing the part of Mrs. Padmore. She's campaigning along with other big celebrity names such as Ricky Gervais and Dame Judi Dench, and she's going to join us now to tell us about her involvement with Animals Asia and the Vietnamese government, and also highlighting the tragic reality of these moon bears and the efforts that Animals Asia are giving them a better life in a number of sanctuaries as well. I'm pleased to say Lesley Nicol joins us on the line. Lesley, how are you today?
Hey, I'm good, thank you. Well, surprisingly good, considering Peter and I did a 13-hour flight yesterday from Vietnam.
Well, I have to say you're looking good after a 13-hour flight. So tell us about your work in Vietnam then. I was chatting to Peter Egan on the show a couple of weeks back about some of the horrendous conditions that these moon bears are under, and there has been some work started to provide these sanctuaries. You're involved in that to help these bears as well, aren't you?
For those people who don't know anything about Animals Asia, they do rescue these animals from bear bile farms. They've been doing it for 20 plus years. Jill Robinson is the kind of force of nature that created this organization. They have a sanctuary in Chengdu in China. They have one in Tam Dao in Vietnam, and they're building a new one because the Vietnamese government, God bless them, are working with Animals Asia. They said, look, we will help you bring this to an end. We will make it illegal, but what are we going to do with the bears? And Animals Asia said, we'll build a sanctuary. And you know, that's Animals Asia for you. These are phenomenally, terrifyingly big projects. You know, it costs millions, and they're going to be taking on up to 300 more bears because that's what they think is left around them for those who survive. It's a huge undertaking. I don't know how Jill sleeps at night. It's terrifying because the thing is, you can't say to a bear, sorry, Charm, I know you're in pain, but you can't have pain medication today because we just don't have the money. Yeah. So there is no plan B, and there never has been. Somehow they've rallied on and they've gathered people to help. And part of this today, honestly, is thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk about it, because there are still people who do not know what a moon bear is, and they don't know what bear bile farming is. And it's a story that needs to be told far and wide, really.
And you're also asking for the help of the people in the UK to get involved as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very conscious at this point in time, Robin, how stretched people are. You know, not everybody, but a lot of people are.
Yeah.
And so if they were sitting there thinking, God, I'd love to help, but I just don't have the cash. If you do have the cash and you can spare anything at all, you can be sure this is a charity that doesn't waste its money. It goes straight to the bears, and that I can tell you because I've seen it firsthand. But if by any chance you just go, I haven't got the cash spare, just talking about it is worthwhile, because you never know where there's somebody who goes, well, actually, I can help and I want to. This is so cruel and so wicked. I want to help these bears because they have no choice and no voice. And that's just, can you imagine if you were in that situation? Yeah. So just talking about it, going on the website, animalsasia.org, you will see, don't be scared of doing that. There's nothing grisly. You will see the positive work that they're doing. And the bestest is when there's a rescue, that they play that live on what was Twitter, X. I'm sure you can go on YouTube and see rescues. It's one of the most joyous things because they go to the farm. There's a fantastic team of really able, proper, bear carers. They get this isolated little thing out of the farm, and then you see them just blossom if you're lucky, if they haven't been so badly broken that they can't recover, but often they do. It's actually a joyful story, and it's one that, once you get hooked into it, it's kind of hard to put it down, to be honest.
Now, there is a bear that's very important to you, very close to your heart, and that is King Darbs. Tell me all about him.
Well, last July, Peter and I went out to Vietnam because they were doing the sort of groundbreaking ceremony of the new sanctuary, the one that the Vietnamese government are going to help bring all the rescued bears to with Animals Asia. So we went out there, and before we went to Bac Mo, where the new sanctuary is, we were in Tam Dao, where the existing one is. We were in the quarantine area, and that is every bear that comes to the farm, because they've come from horrible conditions, there's a chance they might have disease. They've got to protect the whole community. So every bear goes into quarantine for 45 days. So we were in there, they just rescued 7 bears. We were walking along the cages, and they're in various stages of distress, bewilderment, fear. They're not sure what's happening, though by then they've had some kindness, they've had good food. They're beginning to, if they're able to, they're beginning to think this might not be so bad. But 6 of them were, they do this stereotypic kind of swaying thing, which means I'm scared and I'm this. So 6 of them were like that. Then on the end cage, there was this big, gorgeous looking bear sitting on his hind legs, playing with a bamboo thing. I'm not saying he hadn't been hurt, because he had been built for bile. So of course he came with some health problems, but there was something very different about his spirit, and he was very charismatic. And then he was quite funny and quirky. I started singing to him because I thought, I bet he's never been sung to before. So I was looking at him, I was singing to him, and at one point he just turned his head like that.
Ah.
And they said that's a sign of trust. So I mean, he was just quirky. He was quirky and a big character already before he's, started to get better. And I turned to Jill Robinson, who I'm very close to, and she knew my husband very well. He died 2.5 months before this happened. And I said, oh my Lord, who does he remind you of? And she said, 100%.
Wow.
And his nickname at that point, he hadn't been adopted, he was King. And I said, okay, I want to adopt this bear. And I want to call him King Darbs, because that was my name for my husband. Uh-huh. And it was just a weird old connection, and it was very joyful. And I've just come back from Vietnam yesterday, spent quite a lot of time with him, and he is absolutely blossoming in that environment. He is a playful bear, and he gets all these buffers to play with. His health is not as bad as some of them, and he's living the bestest life he could at this point.
Well, if people do want to get involved, if they want to help, where do they go to?
The website is animalsasia.org. It's very kind of encouraging in this world where we as a species are not having a great time, and we're not great with each other, some of us. This is a place of utter kindness and compassion, and you just think, God, why doesn't the world work like that?
Yes, yeah.
Seriously, without being sentimental, I really mean that, because it's human beings at their best, giving these bears anything they can to make their lives better. it's just makes you feel very positive, really, about how we can be if we try.
Well, hopefully after today, people will join in and help support this worthwhile charity. Now, Lesley, when I have you on the show today, I've got to talk to you about a lady that we all love, that is Mrs. Padmore in Downton Abbey. Are we ever going to see her again?
Well, there's talk of a film. I can't say any more than that because often the actors are the last to know, to be honest. But there really is an intention. We're just waiting to see. It has to be green lit, which means then it starts becoming a reality. But there's definitely proper efforts to try and make this happen, maybe next year.
Well, Lesley, it's been lovely meeting you. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Cheers. Thank you so much for giving this a spotlight as well. It's very important. Thank you.
So there we go. That's nearly all we have time for on our Christmas special from the Titanic Hotel here in Belfast. To play us out, we're going to finish with something festive and something Christmassy from Malachi Cush. This is his brand new single. Have yourselves a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. See you soon.
Sleep, oh infant child, sleep tonight. Angels have gathered your mother's close by. Sleep, oh infant Christ, your star shines bright to guide us before you on the sweetest of nights. The prophets foretold it, this mystery of truth. The world, it is watching and waiting for you. The road may be troubled, but we'll make it through as we place all our trust, our hope in you. Sleep, oh infant child, sleep tonight. The angels have gathered your mother's close by. Sleep, oh infant Christ, your star shines bright to guide us before you on the sweetest of nights. Joseph stands by you, he promised he would, sharing his wisdom, his knowledge with you. Mary's been waiting for the joy that you bring, and her heart is now brimming as the angels they sing. Sleep, oh infant child, sleep tonight. Angels have gathered your mother's close by. Sleep, oh infant Christ, your star shines bright to guide us before you on the sweetest of nights. Gloria, let the heavens now sing. Gloria to the Christ child and King. Sleep, oh infant child, sleep tonight. The angels have gathered your mother's close by. Sleep, oh infant Christ, your star shines bright to guide us before you on the sweetest of nights. On the sweet Christmas night.
Welcome to Movie House Cinemas. Popcorn? Yes, please. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the movie. Reclining chairs? Don't mind if I do. Action, thriller, romance, we got it all. Discover the cinema today. Movie House Cinemas, home of the movies.